Okay, so sorry it's been a while since I've done any videos. I've been super busy with Broken, my band, and also a new project I'm working on called End the Fall. That's really exciting, and I've just been that busy writing stuff that I haven't been able to get down here. You probably think you've seen his demo before. I've already done one where I compared all three EVH heads that I have. I'm hoping soon, I don't know how soon, maybe before the end of the year, but I'm hoping to get the 6L6 Stealth, which that'll just be the best demo I've ever done if I can put that in the mix as well. Basically today I'm going to use different settings. The last video I did I used all the same settings on each head, which doesn't really work that well because they're all totally different voiced preamps in there. Some people keep telling me to pop tubes out of my EL34 head and then compare it to my 50 watt head. Well, that would be crazy because the totally different voice, the different voices is what people I don't think understand, that the actual preamp is voiced differently. It's a similar kind of tone and a similar kind of sound that you get with all the EVHs, but they're all just different slightly flavours of the EVH tone. This has got more gain than any of the other EVHs for a start. Now I'm going to boost all the heads as well today on the blue channels. You probably think I'm a bit crazy boosting the EL34S, and I wouldn't have dreamt of it apart from I accidentally did it, just kind of messing with things like I always do. I like to try every possible thing that I can. I'm got a bit of OCD there, and I was surprised actually what happened. It's what it did to the tone of the amp. It's definitely an acquired taste, but it was not what I expected. Anyway, you'll see it in this video. So let's go. Okay, so as usual, I'm nearly deaf, even though I actually sat on top of my cab there. So one thing that I noticed while I was dialing things in is that I could have the settings on the lunchbox and the Mini. Naturally, I wanted to put them the same. Using my ears, I wanted to put the settings that I just naturally had them the same, and that's how I like them. Okay, so that's one thing that I noticed there. The only thing that was different on those heads was the resonance. I like the resonance on the lunchbox up full blast. The more resonance you add to the Mini, the more muddy and loosey and kind of rectifier-ish it gets. Okay, now I do believe that the Mini benefits the most from the boost. I think it needs the boost more than the other two do. I think because it needs just tightening a bit, does the Mini. The Blue just needs a touch of tightening. It's not as tight as the other two heads, is the Mini. Another thing which is worth noting is that the EL34, all the volumes were the same on one. The EL34 on one was loud as fuck. It was stupidly loud. I had to kind of rush it a bit because I'm worried that people are going to start moaning again that I'm coming here in the day and making tons of noise. So basically this was a lot louder. The settings on the EL34 were completely different from the other two heads, and that's probably why this test is a bit fairer than the previous one I did when I put all the settings the same. They are differently voiced completely. The EL84, sorry, the lunchbox is tighter. It's the tightest head I've ever had in my life, and if you're disregarding everything and just the blue tone on that head is probably the best tone that I've ever heard for metal in my life. It's super tight and super articulate, and I really love the Lunchbox's blue tone. It's probably the best tone I've ever had in my life. The blue on this one is a bit looser, like I've said. The EL34 nearly blew my head off with the volume on one. It was stupidly loud, noticeably louder than the other two. The other two, the Lunchbox and the Mini, there was not much volume wise between them. In fact, there was nothing between them. Because the Lunchbox has so much point on it, so much attack, and it's so tight and kind of percussive, it cuts through, so it appears just a touch louder than the Mini, but it's probably about the same. The EL34S is just louder. It's loud. That thing is just, it's just stupidly loud. The low end as well, the resonance around the back, I've got only just over half on the EL34 because the low end is ridiculous on that amp, and because I like low end, I'm tempted to dial too much of that in because I really like my speakers to move, but that is not sensible really when you're using a mic. When I'm using it in the room with my band, I like to get my trousers flapping you know, as much as I can, so I do play with that resonance on the back of that. But really, in an ideal world, we're using mics and things, it's probably not what you want if you want your tone to pop out. I have the mids a lot higher on my EL34. The low and the high settings, the bass and the treble, are about the same. The presence is about the same on the other heads, but the mids are what I've got higher. There's a lot more gain. I had the gain a lot lower on the EL34S, and when I kicked the boost in there was feedback. I turned all the gain down on all the heads when I kicked the boot before I kicked the boost in. You have to do that. But the EL34, I turned the gain right down to below 3, whereas the gain on the other two was 3 and a bit. Okay, it's just kind of over 3, between 3 and 4. So that just shows how much more gain and compression the EL34 has. So that's it anyway. Please click that bell down there and subscribe to my channel.